Albus Dumbledore's office is quite a spectacle. Not only is it his personal area of privacy, but it's been the office for every single headmaster of Hogwarts, stretching back as far as the first person to ever hold the position. But is there a secret behind this room? Excluding the founders, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry has had a total of 27 headmistresses, beginning with the very first headmaster, who's actually unknown name-wise, but there is a statue of him within the school grounds. And as far as I'm aware, each one of those used that very office as their own, except Dolores Umbridge. She couldn't get access as the gargoyle would not accept her due to the school itself not deeming her worthy for entrance. The office contains the portraits of all the Hogwarts headmasters of the past. It also contains the Sorting Hat and the Sword of Gryffindor, both artifacts that have lasted throughout the centuries. According to Harry Potter, it was the most interesting room he'd seen so far at Hogwarts. There's been no other information on the headmaster's office being situated anywhere else in the castle at a different period of time. So what's the secret behind Dumbledore's office? Well, for starters, we need to go back a little further. As far as we're aware, this office or room has been there since the beginning, basically since the castle's creation. Before the first headmaster, there was 4 founders, each of them all equal in power and jurisdiction over the students that they taught, never really questioning decisions made by each other unless it was of an extreme circumstance. For example, Salazar Slytherin wanting to stop accepting Muggleborns to the school. Now, each founder would have had their own office, but did they have their own secret room? Could it be possible that the headmaster's office that we know today actually belonged to one of the founders? And what founder, you might ask? Godric Gryffindor. I really believe that the headmaster's office was originally that of the Hogwarts founder, and in addition to this, I think it was originally built as a secret room. Dumbledore's office only admits people either with his permission or those with a password and recognised as an authority figure by the gargoyle statue. Which means that Godric Gryffindor would have had a lot of privacy if he wished. Now, why after his death this office was made the headmaster's office is questionable, but it also makes me wonder, what about the other founders' offices? Well, let's take Salazar Slytherin for example. He built the Chamber of Secrets underneath the school. Slytherin Common Room is also located deep within the dungeons, with part of the room extending beneath the lake. So it's not a surprise that Salazar built the chambers deep beneath the school. Although it was apparently built to house the basilisk, was that its sole purpose? I definitely think there was more to it than just being a chamber. Salazar must have had some sort of office or working space or even quarters where he wished to alienate himself from the other founders as his hatred for their joint stance against him grew. Like Gryffindor's office, the Chamber of Secrets also required a password for entry. Now that leaves the other 2 founders, Helga Hufflepuff and Rowena Ravenclaw. So what about Helga? Did she have her own office or hidden room? Well, Helga Hufflepuff's contribution to the castle came from, I believe, the creation of the Room of Requirement. If we look at the characteristics of Hufflepuff House and Helga herself, she was an egalitarian, she wanted to help all her students, and what better way than creating a room that would help students at their moment of need. The Room of Requirement seems so beyond the level of magic of today's wizards. However, somebody created it, and Helga was considered one of the greatest witches of the age. The room becomes whatever the person is truly seeking. It could have been used to accommodate the house elves at the beginning. It was used during the Battle of Hogwarts by the students for shelter and protection. So to me, it's the perfect embodiment of everything Helga was as a person, making sure her students had everything they needed. And that's the thing. It wasn't only Hufflepuff students. This room was created to help all Hogwarts students, which further strengthens my claim. Remember when Albus Dumbledore said that help will always be given to those at Hogwarts who ask for it? Well, somehow I don't believe that the Sword of Gryffindor would have appeared for Harry to kill the basilisk if he was a Hufflepuff, even though he asked for help. Which leaves the question combat, Should the sword only appear to Gryffindors in trouble or in need? Or should the Sword of Gryffindor serve all Hogwarts students? And yes, I know it's two different aspects and two different quotes, that the sword only appears to a Gryffindor in need and that help will be given to those at Hogwarts who ask for it. It's two separate things. But should it really be? Well, that's a question for another day, and maybe that's a question for another video. But anyway, getting back to topic, nothing would have changed with Harry's access to the room regardless of his house. Even Draco Malfoy got access to the room of requirement. So I definitely believe that this room was created by Helga Hufflepuff herself. If you disagree with me, let me know what you believe in the comment section below. Then we have Rowena Ravenclaw, the woman whose idea it was to name the school, and said to be responsible for the moving staircases with the idea to keep the students' minds sharp. What was her contribution? Well, I believe that out of all the founders, Rowena's office or secret room still remains undiscovered, but I feel its secret lies within the moving staircase. We know they randomly change, but could they also change at command? Possibly even when an incantation is spoken, which in turn could lead to Rowena Ravenclaw's secret or private room being finally discovered. Now it may seem a bit far-fetched, but why can't it exist? The other founders are tied to different rooms. Maybe Rowena's just hasn't been found yet. With all that being said, if you go back to a part in this video where I question exactly why Dumbledore's office became the Headmaster's office, to me it comes down to two reasons. Now the first reason is its location, easily accessible and doesn't require too much difficulty to get to, and that's excluding the attempts to actually enter. And secondly, it's a process of elimination. We know that Salazar Slytherin left the school and never returned. We also know that Rowena Ravenclaw sadly passed away from an illness, leaving just Godric and Helga as the two remaining founders, which would mean as they grew older, they would need more teachers to help teach and eventually replace them. I believe that Godric Gryffindor simply outlived Helga Hufflepuff, which technically means he'd become the first headmaster, meaning he'd then have to train his next in line to take his place. Using the office in question, after Gryffindor's death, his successor just used the same office as his own, which was then used by that headmaster's successor, and then on, and so forth. As the centuries passed, the knowledge that this office was once that of Godric Gryffindor slowly seemed to get lost, and if we look at it, I don't believe it would have been such a big deal back then either. Only now, because the school is so infamous and valued, that any hidden lore or secrets revealed comes across as very interesting. Now, I really don't mean to play down the fact that Godric Gryffindor wouldn't have been as appreciated then as he is now, but as I mentioned with the fame of the school, his fame too really only grew in the hundreds of years that had passed, and I believe that later headmasters who would have grown up on the stories about Godric and what he achieved would appreciate that fact much more than those who stood in the man's presence. And I really hope that some of you can see the point I'm trying to portray here with Godric's fame growing after his death. So everyone, I want to know what you think about the possibility that the headmaster's office was originally Godric Gryffindor's. Would you disagree? Or do you all believe that despite leaving their heirlooms, the Hogwarts founders may have contributed to the school in terms of secret rooms or offices? Let me know in the comment section down below. And that is all for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel if it is your first time watching, and if you're a fan of the channel and feel like you'd like to contribute, my restructured Patreon account is up and running, and in exchange for your contribution of a minimum of $1 a month, there are many rewards you can receive, like suggesting one of my upcoming videos, exclusive Patreon only videos for you to watch, and even one-to-one Skype calls where we can hang out and talk everything Harry Potter or anything in general. So please make sure to check out some of my other videos on the left hand side of the screen. My second channel, Game of Thrones Lore, is on the right hand side of the screen. And if you want to check out some merch, I've got a merch store on the bottom right, or you can click the link in the description below. Thanks again everyone, and I hope you all have a great day.